What's going on, y'all? Dame calls game, first broadcast of the show. Um, just talking NBA topics. What's going on? Uh, Season restarts going on. Teams are back in action. Some teams probably need another restart coming up, and some teams are looking really good coming out of this break that they've had. This week, I'm starting at 8 o'clock just because there's a game at 9, and I know everybody's trying to watch the Lakers play. So I'll try and get this done before. I'm not here alone. I'm here with my buddy Isaiah. He's also
Hello,
here
everybody.
to talk some basketball with me, help me out.
I'm here, guys. I'm here for
Um,
you guys.
so pretty much it's just recap and preview. There's
Mhm.
been some interesting stuff going on this past
Mhm.
week since the 30th. It is now the 3rd, so 5 days
Mhm.
of games or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, like I said in the intro, some teams are looking really bad. Some teams are looking really good. Um, Magic had some promising action going on. Markel Fultz is looking in full form.
Mhm.
Jonathan Isaac had come back, but obviously
Mhm.
that ended in a sad way. He's torn
Mhm.
his left ACL again, and now is
Mhm.
gone once again. So they lost him. The Lakers, regardless of them being 1-1, they look
Mhm.
really poor. I feel like they are not
Mhm.
shooting up to par as they left off at the end of the little
Yeah.
scrimmage game that they
I
had.
think. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, the Raptors, however, they're looking like they want to go
I.
back to back and prove themselves. So
Mhm.
Isaiah, I know you got big hope in the Raptors. I'll let you talk about it.
I. I have. I definitely. Man. I have to give them credit because I have definitely in my lifetime have gave them like. I said that was a. I was on the side saying that was a Kawhi team. That was Kawhi with a whole bunch of role players, but the role players are actually playing up to like they're playing better without him, I believe. This is I really like what's coming. Like I feel like they have honestly have a potential to make it out of the East. They have a potential to make it out of the Eastern Conference. I think it's open Boston and them Bucks. I think they could beat both of them, honestly. Whether or what doesn't depend on where the city is. Doesn't matter.
Right.
They're gonna. I think they're gonna win. That's just my opinion, honestly. If I had a bet right now.
Another team that looks looking pretty good, even though they had a bad loss. Was it last night? The Trailblazers.
Mhm.
They came out. Damian Lillard is being Damian Lillard once again. He's
Mhm.
hitting big shots until that last shot, a shot opportunity he had
Mhm.
at least.
Mhm.
Uh, he had come out and said in the post game interview he had overthought it and just didn't take the shot. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, he still had 30 points and 16 assists or
Yeah.
something along the lines of that.
Mhm.
Um, Yusuf Nurkic, he's back in full form. He had a great
Yeah.
game until he screwed it over with that horrible inbounds pass at the end of the game. I know you said you didn't watch it, but when I
No, I
tell you
didn't watch
it
that
was
game.
bad. So
It
the
was bad.
freaking the Rockets had hit some free throws, and was it the Rockets? No, it wasn't even the
That was
Rockets.
the
It was
Celtics.
the Celtics. No, the Celtics had hit some free throws, and Yusuf Nurkic went in to inbound the ball, and Damian Lillard made a double move, and instead of going deep like it looked like, he cut back in and was open. Nurkic threw
Mhm.
the ball deep and threw it out of bounds on the other end of the court. It was ugly.
Wow.
Um,
16 assists, man.
what else was going
Honestly,
on?
what's it called? Philly. That was TJ. As I said,
Mm,
TJ Warren dropped 53. I think it
TJ
was.
Warren had himself a game, dropping
Damn,
53
honestly.
points.
There's some.
Nobody
I feel
understands
like
where that came
I
from,
feel
but
like they're building a team like him if he plays because I don't know I saw him in college because I'm a Duke fan so he went to NC State so I saw him play
right.
before so what's it called I've seen I've seen him early like he was good early like I thought he was good in college I thought he was good in college in my opinion Like he was good. I saw early
Right.
performances in college, and I eventually, I'm like, it's eventually gonna show. But like, I didn't like discredit him because he was on the Suns, and I'm like, he like him like Devin Booker, but that doesn't really work out because like Devin Booker is like, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna take most of the
best part
shots.
about
So
that
like,
game, in my opinion, is the fact that he like single-handedly carried them with his 53 points because Joel Embiid had a total score of 41 and Tobias Harris also had 30 in that game. So it was
mm,
pretty much him and him alone. Their next best player or next two best players each had 15 points. That
mm,
was Victor Oladipo and Holiday, one of the brothers. Is it Andrew or
no, Aaron is Aaron Holiday.
Aaron? Aaron Holiday. You're right. Um, yeah, that's. I mean, I did not ever see T.J. Warren in college. I can't speak for him,
Hmm.
but that surprised me. It was
Yeah.
something. Um,
Hmm.
like I said, Jonathan
I
Isaac went
think,
down for the Magic. That's
yeah.
always awful, but stuff happens, I guess.
Rep your city, man.
Um,
Rep your city.
um, what else happened? The Raptors playing like they want to go back to back even without Kawhi. Um,
Hmm.
I feel like
I
the
feel
way
like this.
they're playing
I
basketball, they
I feel
might
like
not
they
have
might be.
the most
Hmm.
offensive prowess, but they are playing some defense.
I think they're playing with a. I really feel like they're playing with a chip on their
So that's
shoulder.
always good to
Everyone.
see, and
I feel
I
like this
love some
entire
defense.
season. Oh my God. I feel like this entire season they were what's it called? They were coming. Everyone said that was a Kawhi team. They thought they were going to be like gone. Like nobody thought they were going to be good when it's Kawhi. Like they thought they were going to have a setback here. They didn't think about all the pieces that were built around them. They just built. They just changed around. They just played. Now they just played more selfless basketball.
Right. I mean, yeah, they're playing team ball for sure. I agree with that.
Hmm.
Kyle
Hmm.
Lowry ended up with 33 points against the Lakers the other night. Uh, Freaking OG Anunoby was their next highest scorer with 23, and I didn't
Hmm.
know he could do that. I mean,
No one
obviously
did.
you're in the NBA and
Yeah,
you're
so
bound
like you made it so
to
far, you
explode
know.
one night or
Yeah.
something. But I mean, it was something to behold. He was having a game for himself, and
Honest.
vice versa. Like I said earlier, the Lakers probably need another restart. They
Hmm.
lost some key players, losing Avery Bradley, who was, in my opinion, their dead-eye shooter. Losing
Hmm.
him hurt, and even bringing in Dion Waiters, who's having probably the best part of his season
Hmm.
in a while, even though it's been two games.
Hmm.
KCP stepping up, it seems like, but LeBron just doesn't look like LeBron, in my opinion. Uh,
Maybe that
I was
break
saying
messed
it to
them up.
Courtney. Yeah, I was saying it to Courtney. He doesn't look like himself, but I mean, I understand he's trying to get his whole team involved and trying to have them
Hmm.
step up. But if he's trying to pass the ball too much and just tries to let Anthony Davis be all the offense, I don't know how much it's going to lay out for them. It's not looking pretty.
Hmm. No, we just gotta see what happens, man. Maybe this break messed them up just because of like having that time gap. Went from playing like even like whenever you're playing for like a month and like even like that entire break, even them giving them a month to come back, it's still that's gonna take them a while. Like they were portraying that entire summer before, so like it took them a while
Right.
to get into that shape, and they only did have like a little bit of time to do it, or like just to go from out of shape probably back to in shape and fast wasn't probably helpful for him at his age at
Yeah.
least.
And the thing is, he looks like he's in his best physical shape that he has been in a while. It's
Hmm.
just, it's not panning out in game. So I'm not sure what's all going on. That's my issue.
Hmm.
Um, is there any notable players that have been standing out to you that you want to talk about?
Oh, let me see. Honestly, Jason, like I said, Jalen Brown, honestly, did not did not expect that to happen. And like he like I honestly like even people like in college were doubting him. Like when I remember when the Celtics drafted him, they got so much crap for drafting him. Honestly, people didn't think he was going to be as good just because he went to Cal
Yeah,
in the Pac-12, and honestly, him stepping, they can make that work. I feel like Kimba's different than what Kyrie was. Kyrie's more ball heavy. Kimba isn't, as much. So that
Kemba's a true
allows him.
point guard.
Yeah,
I will say that he is more assist ridden than Kyrie
yeah,
was. Kyrie was more of a scoring guard.
yeah. He wants to get his points. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have like it doesn't have to be Kimba's night. Like
Yeah,
how Kyrie tries to make every night his night. That's just how he plays. You know what I mean? Not to knock the guy at all, but like that's his playing style. He's gonna try to go out every night and try to do his thing.
right. What other big time games happened this past week? I feel like there's so many
Did you
more.
see that Milwaukee Houston game?
Like there's yeah, I was watching that the whole way. That let me tell you, the fourth quarter of that game made me
Hmm.
so angry. Um, like just watching how many fouls were getting called that entire quarter,
Hmm.
it felt like there was one on every offensive possession.
Well, but I think yeah, I give Rockets credit because they're like just beating the Bucks is not like easy, you know what I mean? So like I give them credit because like I've doubted them before. I still don't think they're gonna make it out the West. They could still like they could surprise you in like a couple rounds or something like that. But yeah, what's it called? Man.
Right.
I also give Russell Westbrook credit because I've been doubting him too. Like I have honestly been doubting Russ. I've been a Russ. I'll admit I've been a Russell Westbrook hater. Like I've been a hater. I thought like in OKC that he was like the what I mean. I thought he was the biggest issue in OKC, but he makes it works out. It just wasn't his thing. Like 30, 30, yeah, 31
What
points.
is the one thing that would shock you during this playing round? The one thing during this
Mm,
playing round that would shock me is if the Pelicans had come back and ended up getting into the playoffs, since they're now third in the run-in for that ninth seed in the East, or is it the West? It's the West. Sorry, they are behind San Antonio and Portland. They're sitting 28 and 38. San Antonio is in charge of that ninth seed, and it would terribly shock me if the Pelicans had come back and taken that spot. It's not looking good
yeah,
for them.
yeah.
Uh,
I feel like
you can go.
they eventually will find it. Like they're not there yet. That's like Zion. Like what I don't know. Like I'm a Zion Duke fan. All I love, but the only thing he didn't do was he's trying to do the same stuff he did at Duke in the NBA, and it's not working out a little bit. Like he's trying to do that Superman. Let me carry them on back. Let me just drive to the hoop, no matter who's in my way. But like it works for him, but like sometimes there's like better defenders in the NBA and they know how to like make you miss or like make you like make contested shots or like
Right.
screw you up and that's the only thing that's like that's the only thing that I've noticed mostly with them,
It's
especially
also
him.
not looking good because they keep having him on that 15-minute reserve, and it's holding him back really heavily because obviously he's not in the greatest shape that you're expecting a basketball player. His body type isn't phenomenal,
Yeah,
but I mean, he's still a freakish athlete, and sad part is
yeah.
they're only allowing him to play 20 minutes max of a game.
We'll see
So
what happens.
it's um, who else is in? The Wizards are actually in control of the ninth seed right now in the East,
Hmm.
and if they could out beat
Ooh,
Brooklyn somehow for that spot, it could be really
they could.
interesting.
They
Uh,
definitely could, honestly.
we're about to bring in we're about to bring in an old head, see what some old school basketball opinions are like. Oh, he left. Um, I would like him to talk. I want to hear some of his opinions on new age basketball. Get back in here. Yo, because I know he's got some hot topics about how he feels on basketball nowadays. Um, oh, the Spurs are actually looking good, even though they're missing like half their roster.
It's Pop, man. Popovich. He can. Yeah, as long as he's on the coach, he'll find a way to do. He'll find a way to build a team somehow. DeMar DeRozan
Right,
isn't too bad either of a player. So like he's not like he's like someone like I feel like Greg Popovich and some other few other coaches in the NBA could handle him being their probably number one or two option. You know what I mean?
right,
Not a lot of teams could do that or manage that, but I feel like the Spurs are one of the few teams that probably could do that.
right. So the standings right now go Milwaukee, Toronto, Boston, Miami, Indiana, Philly, Orlando, Brooklyn, and then Washington's in that one spot for the play-in. And they're still far behind to get in. And then
Hmm.
in the West, it's LA, Lakers, Clippers, Denver, Houston, Utah, OKC, who I'm actually surprised by because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is having himself a good old time since the All-Star break.
Hmm.
Now
Hmm.
let's bring this man in, have some fun. What's going on, Pops? Hello?
Hey,
How's it
What up?
going?
doing
Hello.
all right.
So, Dad,
Jumping into
any,
I'm jumping in mid show. So what are we talking about?
it's just recap and preview. Right now, we're just talking about how the season restarts looking. It's not so pretty for some
Nice.
teams. Some are quite the opposite. I was
Facts.
saying earlier about how the Magic were looking promising because of the way that they're playing, but then they lost their, in my opinion, best defensive big man because that leg injury
Yeah.
again. But
Hmm.
Yeah, that was ugly. Yeah, that was not pretty. I mean, it didn't look like anything, but you saw that big old knee brace on his leg, and it's amazing how you blow out a knee just by a jump stop, right?
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so I know your outstanding opinions on the game of basketball nowadays. Um, so this whole season restart, I will happily admit that LeBron is not playing the way I expected him to play, considering it is LeBron. So I would like to hear your current opinion on the way he's looking.
I'm going to be honest with you. Year 17, I think LeBron's doing what LeBron needs to do. You got a young stud in AD. I think you need to ride him because the man is going to put up a ton of points. He needs to start showing up in the fourth quarter. But if I'm LeBron in year 17, I'm going to pick my spots, right? And I'm going to take advantage of having AD. I think the other problem that you run into is you need Kyle Kuzma to be what Kyle Kuzma was in game one. You need to hit big shots, right? But I think LeBron's doing the right
Hmm.
thing. I mean, at his age, at this point in his life, you have to pick your spots. I'm not gonna throw LeBron under the bus. I think he's being smart right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't know how much else you've actually watched, but the Magic are looking promising. Like I said, the fact that they lost Jonathan Isaac is kind of sad. But I mean, the rest of them are playing pretty outstanding. Markel Fultz has completely turned his skill set around. Uh, him being in Philly
Hmm.
was bad because of the fact that
No.
he went from college to the NBA and his jump shot was absolutely whack.
Mm.
And now he's
He
shooting
went
like,
mental. He went mental when he got to Philly. Let's be honest. He just lost his
yeah,
mind.
I think it
No.
was the fact that he was in Philly. I don't think that they were the greatest team for him, but
That
he has
too.
turned it around, and he is fourth in the league on mid-range field goal percentage, behind,
Wow.
like I said, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 80% from mid-range since the All-Star break, at least I should say. Victor
Mm.
Oladipo shooting 67% from mid-range. CJ McCollum at 64, and then Markel Fultz is at 63.9.
Yeah,
Uh,
but I
so
think Zay had some comments on Fultz, right? I
I
mean,
was
it
gonna
looked
say,
like you
yeah.
had an opinion.
Uh, what's it called? Markel Fultz, man. I like what's it called? Whenever he was at, I think the issue with I think my main, what I believe his issue was at for his transition to Philly. One was because he went to Pac-12, he went to Washington, so he got to basically get away with throwing up whatever he wanted to. Like he threw up probably shots that put in like normal games. Coaches like hold up, like because he was like the only star on the team, so like he could throw up anything half the
Kind of like
time.
James Harden does right now.
I am one of the biggest people to say like he just throws up anything, and like until he manages that, they'll never win a championship. That's one of my opinions. But at the same time, what's it called? I thought in Philly it was just like I think I feel like Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, like you can't put I feel like whenever you have unless you have a pure point guard, you can't really put them in that situation. Like you can't really put them in Philly because if you take Ben Simmons off the point guard, you're pretty much whoever you put in that point guard should have to be a playmaker. You could not put in just like any. You can't just put in someone who's going to shoot up shots, which Markel Fultz is probably going to want to do. So
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think Fultz just lost his confidence in his jump shot when he got to Philly. I think it's a stretch, right? Coming from the Pac-12, to your point, Zay, I agree that it's a whole different ballgame. You're not playing like the ACC, or you're not playing in a big-time Power 5 basketball conference. When you get to the NBA now, it's a whole different ballgame where everybody can defend, everybody's quick, everybody can jump, everybody can do all of those things. So I think for Fultz, I think he just lost his confidence, and it just took him a while. And I think the change of scenery probably helped him.
definitely for sure. Same thing with
And
Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, and to your point, Damien, I think the Magic are starting to show positive signs about turning the corner and being maybe a legitimate NBA team. I just what concerns me about the Magic is Magic's ownership and Magic's leadership.
Completely agree.
Their GM, right? Because like every time you turn around, I mean, Orlando is not a basketball city, right? We had Shaq, we had Penny, and all of those guys left because it is not a premier basketball city. And unfortunately, Florida is a transient state, so it's not like, most people that live in Florida, the Magic aren't going to be their primary team. They're always going to be their backup, right?
Yeah. And the sad part is they actually have a really good team when it comes down to it. Like they were listing off stats whenever they were playing last night, and every game out of 25 games, if the Magic had scored more than 110 points or had been at 110 points, they're 22-3 on the season. Every game that they've shot 44% or better from the field, they are 12-1. And if they have 30 or more assists as a team, they're 9-0. So I mean, it's hard to say that it's the players' fault. I think they just get into some bad contracts with players that aren't necessary to their team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Bad contracts, bad decisions with players. They've had some bad, let's be honest, bad coaching too. I mean, they've had some bad. I mean, when they let Doc Rivers go, that was a huge mistake. When they let, what's his name, Van Gundy go, that was a huge mistake as well. But that was all Dwight Howard's doing when Van Gundy got booted to the curb.
Yeah. When he went chasing a check and turned out not to be the Dwight Howard that was in Orlando.
Right.
Did you see that? Did you see Michael Porter Jr. drop 30? Was it 34 points?
He dropped 37. He's the first Nuggets rookie to score more than 20 points in a game since Carmelo Anthony or something like that was the stat. Oh, sorry. In the first half, he had 20 points. And it's the first time any rookie has done that for the Nuggets since Carmelo Anthony. And that record was since 2004.
I think the only thing about him is he never really had I feel like he was a gift that you had to be patient with him. Like he was gonna take whoever Denver drafted him because they have everyone else. They had Jamal Murray. They had everyone else to pretty much take away from him, so he had time to basically rehabilitate and get back into 100%. Like they didn't complete. I give him credit because Denver did not completely at all rush his what's it called?
Courtney's here.
Rush his hello.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
See, but Denver
Well,
definitely.
since Courtney's here, can we call out the creamsicle? What is the cream city?
Hey,
What is that?
real quick. Hold up. I wouldn't be right if I didn't say shout out to Bombshell Bowling, guys. If you haven't already, get your t-shirts, get your tank tops. The tank tops are on sale for another 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
bombshellbowling.com/loudmouth sports talk. Shout out to Miss Michelle. Hey man, the show's been great, but y'all been a little bit boring. Y'all ain't talking about the points that need to be talking about.
What's up? What you
How
want to hear?
come y'all are knocking my man James Harden? Like I heard y'all say James Harden just be throwing up anything. Dude is like it's crazy to me that like dude literally can score in any way possible. People are like, oh, he just be throwing up stuff. Like, you know why he goes to the line 18 times a game? Because
he's a crybaby.
No, because you can't guard him.
Because he's a crybaby.
No, if you literally see it, James Harden will get fouled and don't even complain. He just goes back. Like, and listen, here's the reason why the Houston Rockets are a threat. The biggest reason, James Harden was guarding Giannis in the closing minutes of the game. He said, I got him. Now Giannis scored a little bit, but getting to the end of the game, why that game losing play when Giannis turned it over. If it wasn't for James Harden opening up his hips, what would have happened? Giannis would have been able to score. And instead, he got stopped. Listen.
James wait. Hold up. Let's talk facts. James Harden in every previous playoff series goes like this. He chokes down the stretch. Oh my God.
Hold up a second.
James Harden defense like a swinging gate.
Listen. Who did James Harden lose his last 4 NBA playoffs to? Let me fact check real quick.
Educate me. Come on.
Last year, do you remember the Golden State Warriors? I'm pretty sure they were a good team. Maybe I'm tripping. What about the year before that when Kevin Durant was healthy? Maybe I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure James Harden lost to those guys too. Oh, hold up. The year before, in 2017.
Well, hold on. I think Damien tried to stop you here and tell you that if James Harden really was the man, they had the opportunity to beat Golden State, but he took a hot L. As Shay would say, he took a hot L.
Nah, listen. Because the 2017 year, they probably would have beat Golden State, but what happened?
Chris Paul got hurt.
Got better,
so don't sit there and act like this dude ain't a beast.
So
listen, why do we got
James Harden? The only time you can be called a beast is when you win, and my man ain't won nothing yet.
So for me,
he's an MVP. What did you say? Giannis hasn't won anything.
Huh?
He's done nothing.
To me,
my point. You can score all the points you want. You don't win nothing. You don't win nothing. You can't be called the man until you win something. You can't be the man until you beat the man.
So my issue with James
that, Courtney. Come on.
People give him a lot of credit for his big scoring games, and I will admit that I'm one of them because he's coming up on the records. Like I said earlier, he's coming up on records for the most 40-point games, most 50-point games, most 60-point games. But if you go back and look at the game they played against Dallas when they went to OT, James Harden shot 14 of 20 from the field, and he shot 21 free throws. And from behind the line, where he is so prolific, he shot 3 of 9. And then,
but again, 33% from the three is like minimal. The league like average. Like if you're shooting 33% from the field, listen, you just said it. He shot 14 of 20 from the field, and he went to the line 21 times, which means you can't guard him. Which means you better check yourself. Sure, he ain't hitting his 3.
Okay, but if James Harden is supposed to be this prolific 3-point shooter, and you're only shooting 33% from behind the line, you ain't that prolific man.
And then
we said he's a scorer.
Hey, look.
Then you go to the game that they had against the Bucks, and he shot 13 free throws. So he could have gone on the line.
Hey, listen, Terry got a song for the Sanucci family. It's called Shake It Off. That's James Harden. Haters gonna hate.
And he shot 3 of 12.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I wouldn't even put James Harden in my top 6 right now in the current NBA.
I would.
Well, first of all, hold on. So LeBron James is the greatest basketball player ever. Giannis, Kawhi, For some reason, people forget about Anthony Davis, Paul George, and then I think it's hard not to put James Harden at that set, only because Steph Curry's hurt. Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, when healthy, they're top 5. You put KD in that top 5, and you put Steph Curry. If you don't,
Klay
I put
Thompson.
KD in the top 2 right now.
Nah, you
I
can't.
It's a top. You can go. Look, you can go because LeBron, and the only reason I say this is because LeBron's in his 17th year. You can go Bron 1, Kawhi 1A, and you can flip flop because Bron's in his 17th year.
You can't flip flop him. I think it's disrespectful. Listen, let's put some respect on LeBron's name. For some reason, Kawhi.
He missed the conversation about what I said about Bron.
Yeah, I didn't see it. But listen, Kawhi has been the luckiest player in NBA history. I told this to Damian yesterday. He walked into the San Antonio Spurs team that were already built. They were in like Tim Duncan, man.
They had 3 Hall of Famers on their roster.
They can still play.
Okay, to your point, Courtney. Wait. He walked in, and what did he do? He was the silent assassin who won the MVP in that
That's not
finals.
true. Listen, he won the MVP because he slowed down LeBron, where LeBron averaged 28, 8, and 6.
And scored. He was their leading scorer in that series.
Kawhi averaged 12 points in the NBA Finals. What are you saying? He averaged 12.
Go.
I don't remember those stats, but
then hold on. So then he gets to Toronto. Toronto was the best team in the NBA, and people forget about that. And they get Kawhi Leonard, and then he wins by the luckiest shot ever in history of basketball.
In Philly.
And then he beats Giannis, which Giannis didn't show up. And then Kevin Durant goes down. He didn't play. And then we were like, oh, okay. They can still win. They got Klay Thompson and Steph Curry and Draymond Green. They can still win.
Yeah.
Then
If Klay stays healthy, if Klay stays healthy in that series, Toronto loses.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
let's also not forget that
we talk about LeBron and all the asterisks about LeBron, and he's not good. But when it comes to Kawhi, they're like, oh, no, he's the great. He walked into the – and then he's in L.A. The Clippers were a good team. They made the playoffs the year before they got Kawhi. And then now they got Kawhi and PG with the
let's
same
also
team.
not forget that Kawhi wasn't the one in the fourth quarters of those finals games when they won last year, dropping dimes like Kyle Lowry.
He shouldn't have won Finals MVP.
Hell no.
Real, Van Fleet was the best player on the court.
Kyle Lowry was going crazy. Van Vliet was going crazy. Pascal Siakam showed up.
If anybody, I would call Siakam as the MVP in that series because he played his ass off in that series.
Siakam or Van Fleet, but I think it's disrespectful to say that Kawhi and LeBron is 1A, just like Tom Brady is 1. There is no A, there is no B, C, D. LeBron and Tom Brady are up here, and then everybody else below. You can say Kawhi share the spot. You can say Steph Curry is up there.
No, I think the reason you can't put Steph up there. And the reason you can put Kawhi up there close to LeBron and you can put KD up there close to LeBron is because LeBron has an all-around game. He can play lockdown defense when he wants. He can rebound. He can pass. He can score. Kawhi can do all of those things. I think KD can do all of those things if necessary, right? It's like you can't put Steph in there because Steph is good at one thing and one thing only, dropping dimes on you from like half court.
No, but listen. But here's my thing.
Steph couldn't guard me right now.
No, but listen, when you do it at a point that they literally change, Steph Curry, the moment he crosses half court, he becomes a threat. We have never seen nothing like that. He is a
there's a few players that do it though.
But my thing is, if you
who is the one?
If he can't make that half court 3-pointer, what can he do? He really can't create his own shot at 6'4". He can get to the lane, but he's not physically strong enough. Like
what?
Oh
he's not physically strong enough to get to the lane.
Hey, Papa, man, did you just say Steph can't create his own shot?
No, if he can't hit that 3, right, is my point. He's not going to get into the lane and be like a LeBron or a Kawhi or like your boy John Antetokounmpo or any of those other guys. He's not physically strong enough to be in that lane and create a shot. Now, can he run around the court, run off a pick, and do all of that and create a jump shot? Yes, he can. But other than that, he cannot score in the lane. He's not all around. He's not as well-rounded as a Bron, as a Kawhi, as a Giannis, or somebody else who can do.
Has anybody noticed that? Giannis can't shoot.
Yes. Bro.
So, here's my thing.
He can't.
I will say it right now. If Giannis goes against the Miami Heat, they will lose. They are going to lose.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, Giannis does not want to.
Especially if they wear them sucky ass Cream City jerseys again.
Cream City. I'm like, yo, that is the craziest name I've ever heard. Like,
It's one of my favorite uniforms, but the ugliest name in the world.
I can't even say they're your favorite uniform because when people's like, what's your favorite? Like, ooh, I like them Cream City jerseys.
I don't say it like that. I be like, I like the
But that's how
off-white
it is.
ones from
That's how I see
Milwaukee.
you say it. When you put it in,
And you know it's bad when you got your team name is named after a brick that your city made back in the day.
Bruh.
Is that name? Wait, is that named after? Hey, is that named after Giannis jump shot? Brick City.
So
Honestly, yeah, like I was gonna say before, I was honestly like Courtney said, I completely agree. He doesn't want to play Miami. I think before I heard you might have said Toronto, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but he doesn't want because I think like he's going to get locked down and they're going to self destruct, and that's what happened
Yeah.
last year. That's what happened last year.
That's the reason. And I heard you guys talk about LeBron. Listen, what I've seen from the first two games is watching LeBron James play through AD because he said it in October. He said, we are going to play through AD. AD is the scorer of this team. And LeBron is selling out on the defensive end. I'm not concerned that LeBron is only getting 19, 20 points the first two games. Because when LeBron picks, think about this. They won the first game against the Clippers, lost Saturday. Saturday. But what happens when LeBron steps it up? What happens when Danny Green knocks down his shot? JR knocks down his shot. They're going to skip. And this is what's so funny. People are like, oh, Friday they went from the best team. Thursday they were the best team. Saturday they're like, oh, I don't know. But I'm like, they still have LeBron fucking freaking James. Like, at the end of the day, nobody knows what it's like to carry. Because Kawhi didn't carry a team. Kawhi isn't a finisher. Kawhi doesn't need to. Kawhi will get you 30 in the first three quarters, and in the fourth quarter, he goes out. LeBron shut him down. And this is the part where, like, everybody's worried. I'm promising you the Lakers are going to win. Like LeBron James has showed, I'm going to put out on defense. I'm going to play through AD. And then maybe I get involved, but he can take over a game at any time. At any point, at any moment, LeBron James is still LeBron James. And I would take
I think, Courtney, we talked about it. We talked about it the other day on one of your posts. I agree with you. I think he's in year 17. He has to pick his spots now. You play through a young superstar like AD.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, what I will say about the Lakers, while I think they have the opportunity to win this, I think their biggest challenge is going to be if Bron and AD have a bad day, you're going to have to rely on those other dudes to be able to hit those jump shots when Bron gives up the ball. And and if they're not, they're going to be in trouble. I mean, I think Toronto showed that a little bit because the Lakers didn't shoot well the other night. And to be quite frank, if the Clippers had those dudes that have been in lockdown for the coronavirus, if they had their bench, I think the Lakers only won by 2, and they probably played a really good game, except AD didn't score a point in the fourth quarter. If it wasn't for Bron playing lockdown defense at the end, they lose that game.
Yeah, but then again, how I feel is like, maybe, because here's my thing. Who's to say, like, I don't know. The way I look at it is like, we can say, what if those guys weren't playing, those guys weren't. LeBron James can take over the game better than anybody else we have ever seen.
Right.
So, and I keep saying that because, like, I think people underestimate. Like, think about it. The Lakers, literally, they got one more game until they get to sit for another 5 days. Like, they don't have to play. They win tonight, for instance. They play first, and they have no more chips. And I think they're still trying to figure out, do we play Caruso? Like, I think you'll see Kyle Kuzma in the fourth quarter today. And I think you'll see him with J.R. Smith. It's going to be probably J.R. Smith, Kyle Kuzma, LeBron, AD. And I think they got to go big. I think they got to bring in JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard for most of that fourth quarter to get guys to be bigger, to open up and let LeBron really dominate. I think LeBron's going to come out aggressive because he has to. And LeBron
I also think they need to be smarter with AD. You can't wear him out in the first 3 quarters. You spread his minutes out in the 4 quarters, right?
Yeah.
To get some help.
And it's, of course, like they're getting comfortable with being back in basketball because they were flowing before the break.
That's what I said. They were the best team coming out of the scrimmages.
That's what Rondo being gone is going to be hurtful. Avery Bradley, he had one big game against the Clippers, and everybody's like, "Oh, we're going to miss him so much." Like, come on, man. Like, yes, he's a part, but he's another piece of engine that is not like he's going to be missed. But it's like, okay, J.R. Smith and Dion Waiters can do the job. Like they're
I
missing
sure
shots.
hope so.
They're just getting their legs back
Honestly.
under them. They're just
I
getting
don't know. Deion Waiters, it depends on how many gummies he has before game time.
So bringing it forward for about the Lakers today, I'm personally going to say that this is going to be their testing game of the restart until the playoffs. Obviously, they're still sitting number 1 seed. They're still sitting comfortably. They have the game in hand against the Clippers, so I don't see them losing unless they lose every game from here on out. But today the Pacers beat the Wizards. T.J. Warren had himself a game again. He didn't quite drop 50 this time. He had 34 points. The Raptors edged out the Heat today. Van Vliet dropped 36, so he was being himself again. Right now, actually, I stand corrected. The Pelicans are right now beating Memphis by 7, and it is halfway through the fourth quarter.
All right,
Well,
but let's be
Memphis,
honest. The only reason the Pelicans are even in this and Memphis is in it because Memphis is in it because the Pelicans are in it, and the Pelicans are in it because of Zion. My man's only getting 15 a game.
Well,
Minutes a game, that is.
Hold up.
Well, listen. So wait, I got a question. Is it really even a thought that Zion is Rookie of the Year? I feel like it's so disrespectful to John Morant.
Nope.
Like the dude has been a baller all year long. He's been it all year. And Zion.
That's not even a discussion, Courtney. I mean, literally, it's legitimately not even a discussion. Zion shouldn't even be in a topic. His name should not even be brought up.
Well, that's like what I said earlier. Whenever Memphis is sitting in the 8th seed,
get that microwave.
You like that microwave back there?
Yeah, that one
Memphis
nice.
is sitting in the
It
8th
looked like
seed.
it got the popcorn button. It looked like it got the defrost.
I got it all, bro.
I'm sorry.
Oh shit!
That's not basketball, bro. We're talking NBA. Go ahead, David.
Memphis is
sorry,
sitting
my
at the
brain
8th
is
seed,
gone.
and they're 32 and 35. Now, I don't know their entire roster from top to bottom, but I'm pretty sure they're one of the youngest rosters in basketball. Like they're
Who's
not
that?
the
The Pelicans?
Celtics. No, the Grizzlies.
Yeah, because
they are the youngest roster in basketball right now. Yeah, they are.
They got Grayson Allen, Kyle Anderson. Like some of these dudes, obviously you've heard of them just because they're big in college. Like Jaren Jackson is their starting 4, and then they've got Justice Winslow, who I think might be the most tenured NBA player on their team. Maybe Jonas Valanciunas. But they're sitting at the 8th seed, and Zion and the Pelicans, who are also a young roster strictly because of what's going on in that trade to get Anthony Davis to the Lakers. But there is no way in hell you can tell me that someone is 9, 10, 11th seed in the West, not even the NBA, which I could only imagine they're close to 25th or something like that.
They're 22nd, actually. That's how they got in.
Okay, then yeah, there you go. How can you say a rookie that's leading the 22nd seed team can be Rookie of the Year over a team that is led by a point guard that's got the same athleticism as this freakish athlete in Zion?
Well, I will say this. If Zion plays more minutes than he's played all year and he plays a full season, I may be willing to have that topic of discussion because he is a freakish athlete without question. Right? You can't be 300 pounds, 6'9", do what he does, and not be a freak athlete. But currently he is not in the discussion. That young man from Memphis is just a bad son of a bitch.
Agreed.
You call him a bad son of a bitch?
He's a bad son of a bitch.
How you spell son of a bitch? Like
S-U-M, bitch.
you goddamn son of a bitch.
But yeah, elaborate on that. I definitely like John Morant. I think Memphis was like I've told people that like they're a couple pieces away. Like they're just young. Like you need to find like they could fit. Like you gotta fill in the cracks. Basically, they're almost a finished roster, but they got like, a few pieces missing away. Depending on you're gonna probably move. I think in the long run, they're probably eventually sometime gonna move Jaren Jackson to the 5. He's gonna eventually play the 5, I believe. He is eventually at some point going to do that. What's it called?
Don't you be laughing at me like that, man.
Nah, look, here's Isaiah.
Wow.
I'm kicking you.
But I'm gonna tell you what, Zach. I'll tell you right now, man. Here's the thing: like Memphis needed the Iguodala, and Iguodala didn't want to play there, but he's the kind of puzzle piece because he's in the league. He has championship playoff experience. He could have helped that young roster, but he didn't want to be there, right? So to your point, you're exactly right. They need pieces.
All right, so to wrap it up, since we got 14 minutes till this Lakers game at 9, 10 minutes left in the second quarter, Spurs and 76ers are tied at 37. Predictions, who do you think comes out, and what's the final score?
Ooh.
Courtney?
Hold on. Robbie got a quick question. Wait, hold on.
Oh,
Robbie got a question.
How do you feel about J. Cole getting an NBA look? Okay, so starting at this, J. Cole was a high school basketball athlete, and he didn't get any scholarship looks. He went to St. John's, I believe, and he was a walk-on for their basketball team. He is honestly a really good basketball player. I think it might be a little too late for him to start because I think he's like 32 or something like that. I don't mind the fact that he's 35. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it's too late for him.
I think at 35, you're right.
I wouldn't mind it if he did it.
Well, I think, number one, at 35, he is probably too old. But at 35, with low mileage on the wheels, right? You don't know how much he's playing. You give him a training camp workout. You give him a training camp workout and see where he goes, maybe.
Listen,
but I don't necessarily know if he's got it, right?
I feel like it's so disrespectful for him to feel like, oh, I'm J. Cole, I can play in the NBA. Like, sit this down. It's not that easy. Like, it's not that easy to be a professional athlete. Like, it's not. Like, people feel like they have this mentality. I don't care whether it's PBA bowling. I don't care whether it's NHL, NBA, MLB, football, soccer, tennis. To be a professional athlete, you have to be better than everybody at that. Like, you have to be in the top 1% percentile of how good you need to be. You can't just come off the street and become a football player. You can't just come off the street and become a basketball player. Like,
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you.
But to the point, Court, he's not coming off the street. He was a D1 basketball player. So
no, he wasn't. J. Cole was not. I don't care. Even if he was, you're 35. You were a D1 athlete 12 years ago. Like, it's not as simple. It's not as simple as going.
Wait, I'm feeling attacked because of my age right now.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like
he was a D1 college basketball athlete.
You worked at McDonald's when you were 15, and you're like, oh yeah, I can go back and become a manager and flip burgers. Like, okay, yeah, that's reasonable. You're not literally competing against the best at your game. Like, I'm so tired of hearing that. Like, it bothers me.
So here's the backstory. He went to St. John's University. It is a D1 basketball school.
There, he didn't play football. He didn't play basketball.
He was a walk-on and was offered a full ride scholarship to play basketball. And whenever the coach called him back, he decided not to go play and decided to focus on rapping.
Sure.
And obviously that turned out pretty well for him.
Honestly, I think it's everyone.
Kurt Warner came off the street and won a Super Bowl.
And Robbie's going to come off the street and pitch in the World Series. So what can I tell you?
I wouldn't doubt it. My man's got some precision strikes.
He's going to be better than Mariano Rivera.
Oh,
the closer.
Don't tell him that.
Rivera literally had two pitches. He literally had 1 and 2. He literally had the cutter and then whatever else he threw that he wasn't a cutter.
Like, okay, but nobody could hit the cutter, so I don't care if you only got one.
I'm not disagreeing that he didn't like. I'm not disagreeing that he's not one of the greatest closers of all time in MLB history. You know what I mean?
Not one of the greatest closer of all time. Man, how old is that dance video?
Old.
All right, so my prediction is I think the Sixers beat San Antonio tonight. I think it'll be a 4-point spread.
Close game. Courtney?
So the Spurs are in 9th place right now. I would be very cautious of what's going on. Greg Pop knows how to coach. I'm taking the spread. I don't care. Whatever the spread is, I got the Spurs.
Zay?
I take
know
the
you
Spurs.
said earlier you picked Spurs.
I was going to say, I get the Spurs, bro. DeMar DeRozan, and Pop.
You're all relying on Popovich. I'm telling you, the Sixers are going to win by 4.
Depending on how much Joel Embiid shows up tonight, if he shows up and has another 41-point game, I don't think they lose. but Rudy Gay and DeMar DeRozan aren't to be slept on. So I'm
No.
gonna have to pick the Spurs. I don't know what the spread will be though. And then to the final game of the night this week, Lakers and Jazz predictions.
Jazz.
Ooh,
Mm.
The
hot
Lakers is about to beat the brakes.
Mm.
Look, AD and LeBron both go for 30.
That's
You're
bold.
saying they both
That's a
go for
bold
30.
statement. That's a bold statement.
Look, I think AD is going to be in the 30 range. Bron's going to be in the 19-20 range. But here's the thing. I think the Lakers are going to cruise to get to the number one spot, and they're going to save their energy. They may lose again tonight. That's my call. I think the Jazz are going to be trying to get to a spot. The Lakers already have their spot on lock. I think the Lakers are just trying to get into that rhythm, and they're not even going to worry about whether they win or lose in that.
Nope, step on their throat. Take them out the rhythm.
Well, if that was the case, they wouldn't have lost last night.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel. I honestly I want to say the Lakers, but Rudy Gobert might have himself a game. He is one hell of a defensive player. I know Donovan Mitchell is going to come up. He's going to play his ass off. Joe Ingles is going to be Joe Ingles. Uncle Joe. He's going to be shooting from freaking wing, lights out as always. He's that old white dude.
This name don't matter. Lakers and foe.
Lakers and
Okay, what are you, Moses Malone? Fo.
Shit.
Okay, that's a little too old for some of you guys. Fo.
For all three of us.
I swear.
Yeah. But I think tonight it's going to be a close game. I honestly think the Jazz are going to pull it out simply because I think the Lakers are just trying to get their legs under them, and the Lakers are saying, hey, we got the number one seed pretty much on lock. We win tonight, great. We lose tonight, great. The Clippers aren't going to catch us. We're going to cruise. That's why I think it's not as important in this play-in round or whatever we're calling it in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Lakers are just focused on the tournament at this point.
Fair thought.
And quite frankly, I think the Clippers get waxed by Houston in the first round because that's where they're going to play.
Is that wait? The Clippers won't have. Yes, they won't. They'll have the Mavericks, and they're going to get that ass swat. I'm telling you.
Well, depends on where they finish, Court. Depends on where they finish. Because if they end up dropping down, they're going to play the Rockets. So it depends on where they finish in the season.
They better pray. The Clippers better pray to God. They don't have to go to the Rockets, the Mavs, and then Almighty King James. Because I'm telling you,
well, you're giving the Mavs too much credit because I think the Mavs get waxed.
Hold up. Have you seen they got Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis? Whatever we'll talk about this later. But listen, you got Luka and Kristaps Porzingis. I don't care.
Yeah, Eurovision.
I'll take Luka. Porzingis, I'm not worried about.
People slept on him in New York. They just didn't. They hated him from the beginning of New York. They did not like him from the beginning.
It's just like the dude from the Pacers who got sent for money. What was it? Compensate? It was like a money settlement. It wasn't even a contract. Like he literally got traded for some dollars. He got traded for batteries, a 6-pack of Naughty Light, and
man.
like he literally got traded for like he got traded on the dollar. And now he's about to
well, Luke, in my opinion, Luke is the real deal. I think Porzingis hasn't gotten to the real deal level yet. He has the potential to be a real deal. He is just a really good player right now.
Hey, I'll see you later. We'll talk. Hey, tomorrow because
here's the problem, right? I'm gonna get called. I'm the old man. I'm old school. As one of Damien's other friends would say, you were watching the league back when Jordan played against bus drivers and taxi cab drivers and plumbers.
I think you remember Vince Lombardi's speeches.
I do.
I bet you do. You wrote.
Shoot.
I might have written one or two of them.
No.
All right, so who you got, Damien, tonight? Lakers, Utah.
I really don't know. I completely respect the way you're saying it. You're saying the Lakers just kind of cruise, call it however the game goes. But at the same time, like Courtney said, LeBron and AD could both decide to show up and step on their neck, score 30 each, and wash away, not even have to play in the fourth. It could go either way. I know Utah is a good roster. They're pretty freaking deep from 1 to 15. It depends on who shows up defensively, honestly.
So when LeBron goes for 12, 7, and 7, I can call Courtney out next time we're on your show.
I'll let you call.
If LeBron only goes, if he goes for 12, 7, and 7, listen, if he goes for 12, I'll give you a free muscle tee.
I'll take that bet.
Well, I'm already ordering the hoodie because those hoodies are fire, bro.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Those hoodies are fire.
Speaking
But
of
I
the
live
hoodies,
in Florida, so I can only wear it like 1 week of the year.
speaking of the hoodies and muscle tees, let's go ahead and bring in this shameless plug. Thank God for Bombshell Bowling. We appreciate the hell out of her. She is our designer. She obviously has her own website with our name, our brand. Shirts are $20. Muscle tees are $20. Men, women, all sizes. T-shirts are only up for 2 more weeks, so go ahead and buy them as you can.
TikToks are only up for 2 more weeks. T-shirts are forever.
Well, yeah, T-shirts are there forever. I said muscle tee. 2 weeks.
So off the basketball topic, Court, what are they going to do with football, high school football up in PA now?
So the governor, I'm literally, look, it's so funny that you just said that. Look at what I'm reading. I literally just pulled this up, big dog. Literally pulled this up just now. It's like you know me. But so they're saying online only schools shouldn't play sports this fall. It says Governor Talbot said officials choosing an online school approach for classes shouldn't play sports this fall. Informal announcement that left all coaches asking administrative work throughout the season. I'm not sure why they're down the rate will evade. In other words, if the school is completely going viral, it virtually seems impossible for in-person. So needless to say,
wait, bro, you sound like a lawyer at the end of every commercial I've ever seen.
Oh, hell no.
Hey, listen. Hey, don't forget. Check out our Loudmouth schedule, man. We got Dame Calls game on Monday, Roundtable on Tuesday. We're going to have NFL football, George and myself on Wednesday. We got Friday munching and grinding for those hungry big people. We got Loudmouth off the top rope on Saturday, man. Listen, Loudmouth is the place to be, the place to have fun, enjoy yourself, kick back, drink a couple brews, talk sports, and have fun, man. Hey, I appreciate y'all. I love all of y'all.
And before y'all leave, I'm gonna give a shout out to Robbie and his inaugural show. That was fire. He did a great job. So keep doing what you guys are doing. Damian, thank you for allowing me to come in and hijack your show tonight as your old ass father. I appreciate y'all.
That's your dad?
Oh my God, no way.
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't look that old. Relax.
You ain't. Now I'm not even gonna send you my microwave, Courtney.
He was gonna drill it out of his walls too.
I'm gonna sell it on. I'm gonna sell it out on Twitch.
We're gonna go ahead and start the sign out.
Facebook Marketplace, baby. That's what you got to be. Facebook Marketplace.
I'm gonna sell myself on Facebook Marketplace. You know, you can go for $2.
Yeah, you might get some money, but I think your girl will be a little upset.
Nah, she'll be all right. I'm about never mind. I almost said something.
Yeah.
Look, I almost said something. Oh my goodness, dude.
Hey, I'm telling y'all right now, Damien and I are gonna hook it up. I'm gonna hook him up. I'm gonna put a studio in my garage just for this. Sound the whole nine.
Start signing out so we can talk after this, Court.
Yep.
All right, later, y'all.
You're more than welcome to special guest on one of these shows, Littell. I will more than gladly bring you on if you want to talk anytime. It's Mondays, 8:30 from here on out, unless there's a game at 9 o'clock. I'm getting on at 8 so we can talk and then get off for the game.
Hey, shout out to my man Littell, Mr. 360 Waves himself. When you come on, you gotta put a do-rag on. Because you can't be out waving me, bro. When you come on, you gotta put a do-rag on. Because your waves,
it's always the dudes with the low haircuts. They always be promoting wave brands. Man, get to the wave queen, bro.
Like Isaiah, though.
Court, stop before I remove you, bro. Disrespect.
It's always the Bellevue kids, man.
Look at this. All right, I get out of here. Isaiah, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having
glad
me.
to have you. Show's happy to have you
you.
anytime you want.
Thank you.
Sign off real quick. All right, Loudmouth. Thank you once again for tuning in. Dame Calls Game every Monday. If there's a game on at 9 o'clock, I'm gonna try to get on at 8. If there's not a game on at 9 o'clock, it'll be 8:30. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is Loudmouth Sports Talk. Our Twitter is Loudmouth Sports Talk, and our Instagram is Loudmouth Sports Talk. If you don't follow us on any of them pages, go ahead and follow, and we are happy to have you. Any interaction is good interaction, but just be nice, be professional, and treat everybody like how you would want to be treated. Thank you. Talk to y'all later.